I like Legend of Zelda, and I don't like exercise. A few years ago, I made a video where I had a few years before that, it's been a while now, forced myself to start exercising as a habit. And I started with an exercise bike. I bought the cheapest one I could and saw whether or not I could keep that habit of just a few days a week, ride for a certain amount of time. And it was boring and I hated it. So I started playing the Pokemon games, and I made a video about playing those Pokemon games and kind of going over what I thought. It was fun, whether or not I would do anything similar to that again. If you can't guess from the title and thumbnail, yeah, I kept going, and over the last 3 years, I've played through almost every Legend of Zelda game. And now I want to kind of talk about what I liked and didn't like. First of all, let's go all the way back. My history with Legend of Zelda. Obviously, I know about it. It's a big thing. But before all of that, I'm probably, I want to say 8 years old or so, somewhere in there, 8 to 9 maybe. And I'm hanging out, waiting for my older sisters to get done with their ballet lessons. So I'm in the waiting area of this ballet studio, and there's another kid there. And he's got a Game Boy. I don't have anything like that. And he's playing a game. And it looks cool. He goes around the map and he's killing monsters, he's flipping around. It was in color. These are things I remember about it. It was really cool. And I only got to watch, but I wanted to play that game. I knew what video games were, not that I had a Game Boy or any way to play them, but I wanted to. Now, a few years later, I don't know exactly when. I'm kind of basing it on when the Pokemon game that I got came out, when the Game Boy Advance was already out, but my friend had gotten an SP, so it would have been around that time because he was giving me his old one. Maybe I'm 11 or 12, somewhere in that range, I want to say. I don't remember exactly. It was a long time ago. But I wanted to play that game that I saw. And all I knew about it was the title was The Legend of Zelda. So I did what else I could do at that age. I went to my dad and said, I would like to buy this game. And we went on eBay, and we specifically found The Legend of Zelda on eBay for Game Boy of some kind. I knew enough to find that. I didn't look any further. I didn't look at anything other than remember the box art, which I used to collect, and I wish I still had them. That would be really cool to put behind me, but that's long since gone. I kept every Game Boy game I ever bought, the square boxes with the art on it. But I remember this one. So we order it, and he specifically, and I don't know if this was, there were no returns on eBay at that point, which probably, yeah, it would have been the early 2000s. But I remember him specifically going, are you sure this is the one you want? And maybe that was just him trying to make sure. But we order it, and it comes in the mail, and I am so excited. And so I open up, I put the cartridge in, and I start playing The Legend of Zelda. Now, if you're familiar with this game at all, you may notice that there are things about it that are not exactly as I was describing, and it didn't feel the same, and it didn't look the same. And, well, I didn't want to tell him that. I don't think I've ever told him that this was the wrong one. I think I just played it off as like, yep, this is it, this is great. I feel bad, but it's fine. It was Legend of Zelda. It was not the game I wanted to play, but I still tried. The thing is, I played this a little, but I did not get very far. I am a young child. This is kind of some of the earliest video games I ever played, and they're not easy. And yeah, I wind up needing to go online and looking at guides. I remember very specifically text guides, finding them and reading through them, and they had little diagrams of the maps and things like that. And the problem was with this is that me having a Game Boy now was okay, that's fine, and it should, in theory, as a parent, my dad, looking at this, should clear up some of the arguments about all of us siblings wanting to use the computer, because the computer was the only thing we had at this point, and everybody wanted to play games on the computer, so we all had to take turns on the computer. But if Michael has a Game Boy, Michael doesn't need as many turns on the computer. He has something else to occupy him. But when Michael wants to play on the Game Boy and needs guides from the internet on the computer, now I'm doubling up. That wasn't cool. So that didn't last very long. I think I waited, I don't remember, I was a child, weeks, months, I don't know, before I went to him and went, I would like another Legend of Zelda game. And I looked up and found, because I found out there was more than one. And I guess I must have looked up Legend of Zelda 2, because I'm sure I was familiar with naming schemes going, a sequel was called 2. Can you see where this is going? So, we order one, I get the cartridge, it looks very similar to the first one, but I'm excited. This has got to be it. And I play Legend of Zelda 2. Nope. Nope, this is way worse. That's not it at all. Not even close. That was not. But I almost never touched another Legend of Zelda game because of 2. But I had seen with my own eyes that magnificent experience of that one particular Zelda game, and I wanted to play that. So we made a third attempt. The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Okay, again, no, still not the one that I saw. It doesn't look right. The graphics aren't the same. It doesn't feel right. But you know what it feels? Good. And this is kind of where this story really starts. Because this game was incredible. And we'll get into it as I replay them and I talk about it more. But let me just say, this is what made me go, oh, Legend of Zelda is good. No, Legend of Zelda is great. No, Legend of Zelda is probably one of the best games I've played at this point in my life. And you know what else this cartridge came with? 4 swords. Later on, all the siblings have Game Boys. We've got link cables. I cannot tell you how many hours we spent linking up to play 4 swords together. We've probably beat that. It's not a long campaign. I think you can do the whole thing in an hour. I don't know, we were children, but man, we would mess around in there and just do it over and over, play 4 swords. It is one to this day, if I ask either one of the siblings, you want to play 4 swords? It's a yes. And you know what they have now is they have it on the Nintendo Switch Online, and I can actually play with my siblings who are in another state. We haven't done it yet, but boy, I'm excited for it. Anyway, a little bit more about the history before we get into this. I don't play all the Legend of Zelda games, but I'm hooked on it now, so I got another one. We'll get into it a bit more when I talk about actually playing through this game more recently, but another game comes out, and right around the release of it must have been, we go out and buy the Minish cap. If I thought Link to the Past was good, and it is, it's hard to compare the two of them, but boy did I like Minish cap. It's got the graphics like the 4 swords that we like so much, but I get to play by myself, and it's so, we'll get into it. But here's the thing I really want to mention. This video isn't a review or a critique of any of the games, anything that we're talking about. It's just my opinion. And you can take that opinion with the biggest possible grain of salt. You do not have to listen to anything I'm saying here. These are not your feelings. They are just mine. You can agree with them or disagree with them. I don't really care. I'm just telling you, I went through a whole thing and I want to talk about it. I want to cement in stone this journey that I've gone on and record a video because that's what I've done in the past and that's what I want to continue doing. That's fun for me. You've seen what I've been playing up until this point. All the Legend of Zelda games are handheld because that's what I have. I've talked about in some other videos that we would later, not too much longer, around the time we're doing this stuff, we would get a PlayStation 2. That was the only console we had as a family until after I moved out and bought Xboxes and all kinds of other things, and now try to have all of them because I enjoy playing games of all kinds. There was something that I dealt with throughout growing up and to this point, was that you were missing out. I was missing out because I'd only played the handheld games. All of my friends had played the console games, and not many of the handheld games. Some of them, I think the one that we could bond on was Link to the Past because it would have been available for both, and I think there was a way you could go back and play some of the originals on GameCube, I want to say. I don't know, I didn't have one, but they played the console games, and all I've heard for probably 20 years is how good they are and how much I missed out. Which sucks. I'm a child, I'm developing, I'm learning, and to hear that the thing I played wasn't as cool as I thought it was, sucks. And now, as an adult, I can tell you, screw those guys and their opinions. It's all good. And now I've actually played everything. I saw what I missed out on, and we're going to talk about all that. But just the stigma, the gatekeeping, it's unnecessary. It's what you play is what you play, and what you enjoy is what you enjoy. Who cares? Moving on. I didn't immediately jump into Legend of Zelda right off the heels of Pokemon, just to be clear. I took a little time, I played something different. Another friend of mine was like, hey, Chrono Trigger. That's an all-time great game, play it. I tried it. I did I don't know how much. I played it for a few weeks. I made it as far as I could, and then I hit a wall where I couldn't progress anymore, and I finally looked up things online. I'd probably had to do that the whole time, honestly. It's a difficult game to get through, but it just wound up being like, yeah, because your build isn't ideal and because you're doing these things, you need to backtrack a ton to go get stuff that you missed and like grind out a bunch of levels or start the game over and follow along in order to do that. And I get it. It's older games were kind of like that. That's how it goes. That's where I stopped. I was not interested in doing that. I didn't have that pill. I don't have those nostalgia, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just playing it for the first time, and I get it. Back then, I would be a child. I have all the time in the world. It would be way easier to go, all right, well, I'm bummed that I have to do it, but I had a good time, so let's do it again. But anyway, eventually, we would get into it starting in December. So, The Legend of Zelda, the first one. I wish I had something slightly bigger than a cartridge to put on the table and help fill the frame, but that's what I have. At one point I was like, oh, it would be a really cool idea to create like an art piece of having books, get like old books and rebind them with the Legend of Zelda games artwork for every one of them, and then I could display them on a shelf afterwards. Turns out that costs a lot of money and time and skills I don't have. So we have this. But I will say, I own all the games legitimately, and I played them throughout this, and what I'll show is all legitimate because of, nothing to do with how videos are taken down from here, from what I've been reading, by a certain company that owns licensing and doesn't appreciate when you play games a different way. So everything I played was legally acquired and purchased and bought and played that way on those consoles for sure. And anyway, I played it on the 3DS Virtual Console, which is extremely useful to me for that. Here's what I know going into it, and here's my goal. My goal is just to have fun. My goal is distraction from exercise, a thing I don't enjoy. So if the game I don't enjoy, you could kind of tell where I'm going to... But I just want to have fun. I got nothing to prove to nobody. I'm not going to cheat in a way that I feel is cheating, and I don't feel that save states are cheating, which is extremely helpful in a game like this. Let me tell you. That's how we beat this game and several of the games here. I knew my past experience with this. I knew I wasn't going to play all the way through it and just muddle my way through. So if there are games that I knew that going into it, I started with a guide right away. And I also would hit a point throughout all of this. I get to a point where I stop having fun. I give it a good, honest, I am an adult, I should have a fully functional brain now, and I should be able to figure out whatever puzzle or whatever I'm stuck on, and I will try. And when I am done trying and it goes, okay, I've stopped having fun, I can now either stop playing or I can look it up online. And I would do that. This one, I didn't even bother. I just started straight with a guide. I followed a guide through, which, let me tell you, was extremely useful. There's a lot of things you can miss in a game like this. And like I said, save states. Save states is how I was going through some of these dungeons, because getting all the way through a dungeon in one run and making it to the boss and beating the boss, that's really difficult. No, it's more like, clear the room. How many hearts did you lose? Do you think you can make it through the rest of the dungeon on those hearts? No? Reload. Go back through it. It's the only way I made it through games like this, but I had fun doing it for the most part. It's frustrating. The game is difficult. The game is unforgiving. And also, there is reading something in a guide about how to clear it and what's coming up, and then there's actually doing it. Let me just say, that doesn't really make it all that much easier. It takes away some of the guesswork and trial and error, but there is knowing what to do and actually doing it, and Wizrobes can suck it. My metric for this game and all the games we are playing today is simply, would I play it again? That's the only thing we're doing here. Just would I play it? No, probably not. Just to be honest with you. Moving on. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Nope. Big nope. I thought I knew the history of this game, that it was a different game entirely that got abandoned halfway through development, so they just stuck a Zelda skin on it. Nope, that's not at all what happened with this whatsoever. That was Mario 2, I think, as far as I know, but that's just not. This is a very different kind of game. It's more like a platformer with floatiness and just not for me. Level grinding was not something I expected from a Legend of Zelda game, even following a guide from the start, which was more of an issue than I thought with the guide itself not explaining a lot of the mechanics of the game. I remember giving up on the website that I found that guide from and just going and finding another one partway through because of how frustrating it was. And let me say, if I thought I needed save states to make it through the last game, it's nothing like this. This is insane. I don't know what else I can really say about it. Similar to like when I did Pokemon, as I go through every single day that I sat down and played, I would just kind of on my phone type up a few notes, what I was doing in the game, or like kind of like keeping a journal almost, and what I was feeling, especially in emotions. And when I was done with that video with the Pokemon, I just put them on Patreon for people to read through in case you're interested. And I'll say here as well, I'll do the same thing because I just have them all. I took all the notes. There's no reason not to. There's let's say harsh language. I might be putting it mildly. Would I replay The Legend of Zelda 2 Adventure of Link? Not even if you paid me. We're obviously going in release order. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Now we're talking. It was a breath of fresh air as soon as I loaded the game up. It just feels right. Familiar, so good. The mechanics are fun. I love getting all the different items and solving puzzles with them. This is the game that really instilled into me something that I would enjoy in just about any video game for the rest of my life so far, is that you can upgrade your weapon. I really like that. Changing the color of the sword, dealing more damage. It's so simple of a mechanic, but it just holds true. I will go out of my way when I'm like, what kind of game do I want to play next? I will look up what games have mechanics like that and play them solely on that. Just on that basis. I don't know. It feels good. I was doing one thing and I upgraded and I like swords and like the sword changed and now I have better sword and it's better and I like it. Good. Oh man. The puzzles, the items, the everything. I don't know what else I can really say this. I'm not really ranking any of them. I just have a few that hold favorite spots and this is one. I absolutely would play this again. I already have. I've played it more times than I can count. It's incredible. I don't have the guide anymore. I bought a guidebook because in order to 100% this for sure, and I beat it without it, but then I played through a lot and missed a lot of things, and I went through and I 100%ed everything into there, and I bought the guidebook at some point. I just don't know where it went. I wish I had it just so I could show you because it was in pieces. It was in tatters, pages falling out. The spine was basically gone. I used it so many times. I would loan it. I would loan this cartridge to friends and go, here is the guidebook, here is the game, have a good time, and hope that I got both of them back. I don't know if I still have it somewhere. I can't find it. I hope I still do. That's a cool piece of history to hold on to. By far one of the best handheld gaming experiences. Yes, would play again. Yes. Number 4, Link's Awakening. Hey, remember back before when I said I was a child and I got my first look at a video game? This was it. But I didn't find that out until like the late 2010s when they announced a remake. And it dawned on me that there were Legend of Zelda games I had forgotten that memory. It was young, I was a child, and it was what got me looking at Legend of Zelda and aware of its existence. And then I just forgot to ever look that up and play it again. I didn't realize this existed until they announced they were doing a remake. I figured it out. I looked at it. I went back at that point now, 2019. I'm definitely an adult and I'm going, okay, wait a minute. What is this game? This was a remake of one from before. It's not a new game, but okay. Oh, this is I go back and look at gameplay footage of Link's Awakening. It was specifically Link's Awakening DX because of the color. I found that out. That was what I saw the kid playing in the ballet studio, and that's what I wanted to play. So I was really excited to play this game. And I picked it up and then wasn't ready to play it and wasn't ready. And then we went on a vacation at the end of 2019. And between doing photography, which was the thing I was into at that point, whenever we were not out doing things, I was back at the condo that we rented playing Link's Awakening on the Switch. And it was great. But the interesting thing about that was that it became kind of a vacation game for that point. I came home, it was great, and I was like, I'll keep playing it. And I came home and just kind of forgot about it. I never finished it at that point. Finished it now, and it was fantastic. It was great. What a blast. I didn't need a guide for this exactly because there's kind of a built-in, here's what to go do next mechanic. It's not exactly one for one, it always tells you, but it's good enough. But, most of these games, I would have to look up a guide for one thing or another, especially when I get stuck. I don't remember having to look up much of anything at this point. I may have, but I don't remember. Hey, I enjoyed it. It was great. And I didn't have save states. I didn't need them, which is good because that's not how that goes. I will also just mention this one, the time played on it was shorter than the others. This, technically, the original Link's Awakening was the first handheld game, the first handheld Legend of Zelda game that was not I played all of them handheld up until this point, but in release order, the original Link's Awakening was the first one for a handheld console and was shorter. I expect that is because cartridges smaller, memory size, things like that, game size. Also, they were just that. I think that's just kind of how it always went. Is that console games would be bigger and more expensive, and handheld games were cheaper and shorter, but still fun. And I had a great time with this. It was fantastic. I would definitely play this again. Here we go. Number 5, Ocarina of Time. This is like the Legend of Zelda game for everyone. Not everyone ever, but, top charts. You look up best Legend of Zelda game or whatever, or best games of all time or whatever. Best is such a useless word to me now with the way that people describe it. But a lot of people say this is their favorite. And this was the one that I had missed out on, apparently. Probably above any other Legend of Zelda game, this is what was suggested that I had to play the most. Also, it seems weird 5 games in at this point already to specifically mention one of my thought processes, but this is when it came up when I was writing my notes on this. My mental state going into these is definitely giving grace to them. They're old games. I don't expect them to be the same as modern games. Things have evolved over time. Things like fast travel, or the way games save at certain times, or just how it plays in general, how it feels, a lack of camera control. So, again, keep in mind, not a review, not a critique. That's just something that I thought about when I was playing these games. It's a game of its time. Try to put yourself back into that. Remember other games that you were playing around this time. If you're trying to compare, but I really wasn't, it's just trying to accept what it is as it was. I'm playing it on the 3DS. And I'm playing it with this 3DS, which is the same 3DS that I was playing my Pokemon games with. It's Legend of Zelda. It's great. I modded it at some point so I could play other things, and it went fine, and everything was great, and I played all the Pokemon games the way I needed to, and I played other things that I needed to, and everything was great. And then something happened. I am playing Ocarina of Time. I am playing on this 3DS, and I am riding the bike. My hands are here, everything's fine. And you know what? Up until that point, as I was playing this and then the Switch for a bit there, everything's good. And then the unthinkable happens. The unimaginable. No one could have predicted that I would have dropped the console. But to be fair, I didn't do it while I was on the bike. It was after I was done with the bike ride, and I set it on the table right next to me, and I didn't put it all the way on there, and it tipped. And, it was mostly fine. It broke the ribbon cable between the bottom and half, so the top screen was gone. Well, that's a real bummer, but it's not the end of the world. I can fix it. So I order the ribbon cable as part of the top screen. I order a new top screen, figure that out, how to connect them up. I learn. I want to be handy. I want to repair things, try to. I fix it up. And, the only thing we really lost was the SD card, because I did a real stupid thing. I opened it up more than once in order to learn what was wrong with it the first time, order the parts, do it the second time, test it. There was a third time for a reason. So I fixed it, and during that last attempt where I was doing it and I got comfortable with it, I did a real stupid thing, which is I forgot to remove the SD card from it when I popped it back open. And it turns out that just a little bit of a chip off the end of the SD card completely ruins it, which means I lost all of my progress. It's June of 2023, and I'm rather upset because I was putting a lot of time into this. I was going through it as blind as possible, trying to play the game unless I got real stuck, like I said, got to the point of frustration where I stopped having fun, and then I'd look up the guide, but I'm trying to go into it, trying to have fun, trying to play it, and it's okay, it's fine, I'm enjoying the game, it's good, but then that happens, and it's a bummer, and so, around that time, in June of 2023, I happened to get something else. I was really excited about this, and I figured, all right, I can either fix it and hope it works and everything, or I can buy the thing that I want, or I could do both, because a new screen was not all that much, and certainly not as much as this thing was when it came out, but I was really excited, and clearly I'm making a use of playing handheld games every day. Worthwhile investment? Yes, absolutely. I made videos when I got it, and I was so excited about it. This thing is incredible. Not all of it was incredible for all the reasons, but yes, very much. So we continue playing it in a legitimate and completely real way on the N64 emulator. And so it's a lot faster this time, the second time around. because I know what I'm doing from the first point. So I just retrace my steps, get back through it. About 2 weeks into that, I had an issue with this. Wasn't perfect, as almost nothing is, but it wasn't the SD card dying, which happens to a lot of them and did happen to mine. Not happy about that, but at no point did I go, well, I'll send it back to them and get another one that'll just die with the SD card. I should have, just for the sake of it and the fact that they sold the product that was faulty in some way. I'm not thrilled about that in any way, but I don't use the SD card slot anymore. I was using it for the games, and I just stopped using it at that point. But this is unrelated. That's not what the issue was for this. The issue was something that I looked up online, and some other people had the issue with, and the only solution, it was about the graphics driver. Basically, Asus put out their own things, and so they weren't going through the Windows update, so you had to update them separately, but then they could get out of sync, and I went to play it one time, and the graphics were terrible, and I couldn't do anything, and it was because it wasn't using the graphics card. The graphics card driver had uninstalled itself, and I couldn't just go get that driver and install it, because it was supposed to be part of Windows update. It was a whole thing. I don't want to go into it. Basically, I had to reset Windows, and I lost my file with that point. So, for a third time, I found someone else's save file online that was basically at the same point where I was at. They hadn't gotten any further. It was right to whatever temple. I don't remember exactly where it was. It's in my notes, but like where exactly it was, they had gotten to that point. The only difference was that they had done all the other things before, like they were probably following a guide, which I wasn't doing, but I continued going through. I get why there is a majority of dislike for the water temple. I too feel that way. But I was finally done. I've played all the way through it. It was fine. Would I play it again? It's really hard to say. Maybe? I feel like the sour taste in my mouth definitely comes from having to replay it multiple times when all I wanted to do was move forward with the game, and that was no fault of the game. That was my own fault. And that was my own fault? I should have backed it up before I reset. I don't know why I didn't think about that. It wasn't the save file. I still had the SD card working at that point, and the SD card wasn't where the save files were. So that's on me, although the issue that caused me to reset, I don't feel like what... Regardless. I don't know if I'd play it again, to be honest with you. It's outdated, it's old. If they made some improvements to it, if they remastered it in a way that like had modern controls, maybe? I didn't hate it, like some of the other games we played so far, but not really my favorite. But it was fun, and it was enjoyable for what it was. Again, I try to look on the positive of all these things. So, we move on. Number 6, Majora's Mask. I just played it here. Similar, yet different from last time. Now, by going into this, I've told people what I'm doing, so my friends and things like that, and they who have played them back in the day gave me a bit of advice going into Majora's Mask. Just save trouble and look up a guide beforehand. And I went, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I want to at least give it a shot. And they're like, okay, I mean, here's what you're in for, though. And they told me about some of the mechanics, like the whole game resets every 3 days. In-game days. And how often you do that. And there's time-based things that really, it's a kind of trial and error game, figure stuff out. And I went, yeah, that sounds miserable. Cool for back in the day when I'm a child and I have a lot of time on my hands. I am just trying to make it through the stuff. I already don't like riding the bike. I don't want to hate the game that I'm playing, and I don't want to just wander through. So I just went straight into this following a guide, which, hey, let me tell you, save states again, really, really useful because you can only... save at statues, and look, it was fine. The whole through the guide, the only thing I feel like it really took away from it was just the wandering exploration, open world stuff, but that's fine. I still thought it was really cool. I actually liked it better, I think, than Ocarina of Time. In hindsight, did I like it better simply because I did not have to play through it multiple times, or did I actually like it better because some of the improvements that they've made? It was mostly, I think, similar gameplay for a lot of it, but they changed some of the stuff. I don't really know. I can't analyze it that well. I will say I put in my notes, cool, in all capital letters, about one of the bosses, which is where you get to sonic roll around chasing a big mechanical beast, and it reminded me of the chariot boss in Dark Souls 2. So yeah, I think I liked it better than Ocarina, but... I don't think I'm replaying it. The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons was number 7. And now, here's one that I actually played back in the day as well, although I didn't beat it, unsurprisingly. Again, we have the cartridge and definitely played it. as is. So in the late 2000s is when this came into my collection, and I played it at that point as well. I don't think I'm quite an adult at this point, but I feel like I'm real close. I'm just on the edge, and here's what I remember. It was a Christmas present from my older sibling. Fantastic. Gave me a Legend of Zelda game that I didn't have, and I immediately tore into it and started playing that Christmas morning, all day, whatever it was, however much time I had. And I remember a few things. I think I was close to an adult because I want to say I drove when we left to do Christmas at other people's houses, which is what we did. But I also remember putting it on and playing it because it was the closest I've ever come to watching Nightmare Before Christmas. I have nothing against that movie. I thought it was fun. I played through the Legend of Zelda. I played through the Kingdom Hearts levels and thought that was fun. I've just never actually sat down and watched the movie still. And that was the closest. It was like, Michael, we're going to watch this. I was like, okay, yeah. And then we started it, and about 2 minutes in, I went, wait, Legend of Zelda. Let me just boot it up. Let me just see, because here's what I thought. Oh, thank you. Merry Christmas. Yes, amazing. This is the game that I saw the kid playing at the ballet studio. I've always wanted to play this one. And I popped it in and started playing it. And then the movie was over and I went, this is not the game. But boy, it's close. Boy, it's real close. And why didn't I look up at that point what the game was? I don't know. But either way, I played it. I did enjoy it. I didn't beat it back in the day. It's fine. What a surprise. I remember needing the guide at some point, and then it was just a hassle because I didn't have a laptop. So, I'd have to sit in front of a computer, and that's just not what I was doing playing games at that point. I had an Xbox. So, anyway. I really remember going, this is the one, and it wasn't the one, but it was still good. It was overall a good time. I kind of feel like I have a more of a preference to those top-down style of games, maybe because of just the ones that I played and what I liked with Link to the Past. I don't know. But I definitely would replay this. This was great. I thought it was a fun time. I liked the mechanics of it, some of the things you would get. It was difficult. Let me say, I would not replay this game without save states, because that final boss especially, looking through my notes, I'm like, ooh, boy. But it was fun. It was good. I liked it. Oracle of Ages. I thought this was going to be like Pokemon. I was familiar with that concept for Game Boy games. You get one, you get the other. They're basically the same game with some slight differences. No, this is more like a sister game in the same engine. I found that there is actually an ideal order before I started touching this. Play through Seasons, get the code, put the code into Ages. It is a sequel. It actually takes place after the way that they change things and some of the stuff that changes. Seasons, as it turns out, was more focused on combat, which makes sense with the amount of save states that I had to do to get through some of the difficult things. So yeah, that makes sense. Ages was more like puzzles. So I spent a lot more time looking things up online when I was like, oh, come on, what do I do here? Combat was still hard there, don't get me wrong. But it had my least favorite mechanic in any video game ever. You have things, and we take them away, and you have to get them back. No, I hate it so much. It feels bad. It feels like you're not progressing at that point. They throw you on an island, they dump you on there with literally nothing, and you have to work your way back all the way up through it. And the dancing. I dislike the dancing. Just to be fair, though, playing it with a controller, not immediate input, introduces a bit of lag. Playing it with wireless earbuds when there are time delay, there's lag, and you have to be time sensitive in a rhythm part of this. Oh, it took me so long to get through that because you can't skip it. And then you do it again shortly after. And it was required. Like I said, you can't skip it. The second time, I was so pissed off. I just use save states after every right button press save state, which, let me tell you, was really quick button pressings. I had it macroed to a keyboard so that I could just go, here we go, ready, no earbuds, just play it immediately on the handheld, do the thing, get through it immediately, save state, nope, load, like, oh. Between the dancing, between them taking away all my stuff, just a mechanic I don't enjoy, I did not enjoy that part of the game, and then a final bit in the end of the boss fight where they flip your controls around. Nope. I'm cool that I beat the game. I'm happy I got through it. I did the thing. I will never touch it again. Wind Waker, number 9. Played it on the Wii U. Brought out the Wii U out of storage, hooked it up there, which wound up being only slightly a hassle because, as it turns out, with the Wii U, I guess I didn't play that much of it. I don't remember, but when you're playing on the gamepad, but on TV mode, it only plays sound through the HDMI on the TV, which I didn't have sound there, so that was a bummer. So instead I just played on the handheld, which is like, but you know. The problem with that doesn't come from the game. It's not a problem of the game at all. The hardware is what the hardware is, and you know, I should probably have known that going into it, but I didn't play a lot of Wii U, so I wasn't aware of that. I thought, oh, there's a headphone jack, I can just plug in my headphones, but not when I want to play it on the TV, the bigger screen, which I thought would be cool, and use the handheld for it. I thought that would be a whole thing. I'm riding an exercise bike. I'm in a closet because that's where I have the best space for it. I've got a box fan about a foot from my face. That's why the earbuds with noise cancellation were super nice to play on other options. Could not do that here. I don't think it had Bluetooth. I didn't even try. Honestly, anyway, I was at this point in my notes where I just started splitting up things. So it was like things that I liked. I really liked how good it felt to play the game and how well the remaster holds up, because that's like 10 years old at this point, I think. But I was like, hey, modern game, all right, good stuff. I liked the combat system. Especially the varied sword attacks and, tools, like the grappling hook. Yeah, now we're talking. We're getting back to things like what I was used to. Sailing was fun, and you got to explore at first. I thought this Link had more expression to his face than some of the others. I really liked that. I thought that was cool. And I thought the dungeons were really good because I found them, like, things I like about it is when you can just progress through without excessive backtracking. That kind of bothers me. Again, I don't feel like I'm progressing if I have to go back through something. Things I didn't like were the save system, because that it resets you back to the beginning of the dungeon or the island the island entrance. So when I'm done with my 45-minute bike session for the day and I save and I come back the next day and go, oh man, I gotta make my way all the way back to there? I honestly don't remember if they had the kind of like portal. Usually dungeons have things like that in most Legend of Zelda games. I want to say that may be overgeneralizing it. I don't remember specifically about this one if they had that. I think it did. I think I remember something like that, but I don't think I found them in everywhere. It wasn't like, oh, you beat this, so here is the one. Like some games, you would clear a room and you'd hit the halfway point and they give you the blue or the red or whatever portal it was, and that would instantly tell you. This one, I think they were hidden a bit more. You kind of had to go out of them. Some of the other things I wrote down, I did not really enjoy having to micromanage your companions with the command melody constantly. You get to a point in the game where there is the Triforce hunt. Nope. Was not interested in doing that at all. Marked down in my notes being like, boy, I hope this isn't required, because that just sounds like a really tedious fetch quest. And it was required, and I did not enjoy it. Some of the ship battles were almost impossible. I was really frustrated by those. Maybe I'm just bad at ship combat, but like that really got to me. I felt like that was really tough. And, well, just kind of, I used a guide a fair amount because I couldn't figure out where to go. Just figure it out was not acceptable to me. It was difficult to follow, and I didn't enjoy that. Overall, I was real enthusiastic going into this as like a personal favorite of Bonnie's, and she was like, you got to play this one at some point, and was excited. And I was like, okay, yeah, I liked good points about it. There were definitely good things redeeming about it. There was also some things that really brought me down. Like I said, that Triforce hunt. Gotta be honest, looking back through my notes, I kind of feel like when I was done, I felt relief about being done with it and ready to move on, instead of like satisfaction that I'd beaten the game, if that makes sense. Number 10 is Four Swords Adventures. I didn't even know that this game existed before starting this. I played Four Swords on the Game Boy Advance cartridge, which was a smaller version of the same kind of thing, and got to play with link cables, and we played the hell out of that. So I had a very strong sense of nostalgia playing through this one. But I liked, and also didn't like, the mechanics of controlling all four links at once. It was cool because cutting the grass is much easier when you're not relying on a younger sibling who's just messing around over there when you're trying to get through stuff. But, you know, at the same time, yeah. I think this one would be a great party game if I were to ever play it again. I would prefer to play it that way. Let me put it that way. If you had silly antics, everybody's having a good time, you're grabbing each other, you can hold each other up above your head, throw them off the edge, and it kind of plays like a party game. Each level is about collecting enough gems to fill the sword up, so you've kind of got that element to it. But as you might imagine with so many of the games, this one, there were parts that I didn't understand what to do, and I had to look up a guide. Some I didn't feel like it explained very well. I just didn't get it. Maybe the best idea there is 4 people figuring out together, so you got 4 brains working together trying to solve whatever it is, but I tried my best doing solo, and regardless, some of the boss fights were brutal. But overall, I wrote down in my notes that I enjoyed this game, and I would play it again. Number 11, the Minish Cap, as we talked about before, but also, I will tell you, I had the guide for it. I actually still have it. This is one, I'm biased with this game. I love it. I'm not picking a favorite. This one's near the top, for sure. I can tell you right from the get-go, I have played this game multiple times. I don't know if I've played Link to the Past more, honestly, but I would easily play it again, just to get that right out of the way. I remember when this game released because I saw a commercial on TV, and the commercial was you could shrink down and enter an unseen world and go see like creatures living in your bookshelves, things like that. I immediately went out and, well, I didn't. I was a child. I asked my dad, please drive me. I'd like to buy this. I don't remember if I had my own money or if he bought it for me. I don't know. But I do remember we go and we buy the cartridge and everything's good. And then I think that same weekend I went, oh, I should probably get the guide for it because I have a feeling like Link to the Past, I'm gonna need it. And, I don't think I did need it necessarily, but I did. Whoop. I'll rip the map. I need to be more careful. This is quite old. 20 years old? More than 20 years old, or probably around 20 years old at this point. This was fantastic. Things that I noted playing through it again this time. The art style, the puzzles, the combat. Oh, I was so happy with all of it, realistically. Just really happy. Even looking at some of my notes through some of the tougher bosses, I knew the game well enough that I think I only looked at a guide once, and it was because I simply needed to... I knew what steps had to be taken, I just couldn't remember what order they needed to be taken in, and I think that was about the other... But it's probably just... That's memory. I remember this one so well because I played it so many times. I actually played it not that long ago before starting this. I want to say 5 or 6 years previous to playing it through this time around because they had put it out on the Wii U as a virtual console. I remember going, yep, buy and play. Great. Fantastic. Things I like, the special items, the gust jar, the cape, you could jump and glide, the cane, you're flipping things around so you can get into it. Honestly, everything about it, and it had that mechanic that I love so much. You could upgrade the sword. The blade didn't change color, but the handle did, the hilt. Hey, it was progression. I liked it. Makes you feel good. Yeah. Very similar to Link to the Past back on the Game Boy. I 100% this. I did it through the use of the guide as well, but even with the guide telling you where to go, and I think that may have been one of the reasons why I knew I wanted the guide, because once I was hooked on it over the first couple days, that may have been what it was. I don't know. I was a child. I can't remember everything from 20 years ago, but I have a feeling that might have been what it was. I was excited. I was ready to play. I got it, went, yes, I enjoy this. I will 100% this. I will need the guide to do so. Easier to look it up online. I will go buy a guide, and I played all the way through it. I did everything. I will tell you what took the longest going through and 100%ing it was those little figurines, because they had a random lottery system, and then it would cost more to... there was so much grinding to get that done, but I did it. That was the only way to get the final heart piece, to have all 20 hearts, and I did that, and I was so happy. A great accomplishment for young Michael. Fantastic. Absolutely would play through this again. Number 12, Twilight Princess. I actually touched this game a little bit before this point. I wasn't completely blind going into it, but I basically had never really played this. I got it as a birthday present from a friend, the same friend who gave me my Game Boy and Pokemon and some of the other stuff. A good friend. Gave me some cool stuff. He gave me a copy for the GameCube, which I can't find. I wish I still had that. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to my GameCube either, so those two things are probably together. Hopefully someone else is playing it at this point. But we have the HD remake. Fantastic. That looks so good. I was really happy about how that, even though this is, again, probably 10 years old at this point, that HD remake holds up. I was playing on 1080p, and you know, it looked good. I was happy with it. But I know I got it back in the day, and I know I at least tried it. I don't remember how far I got. I don't think very, but because my friend gave me his old copy to play, and I think I had a GameCube or a Wii that I could play it on, so he gave me his old copy of the game, and then he bought for me, brand new, the guidebook. That's a thick book. And yeah, I did not use this to make it through this game. Because I was riding the exercise bike. So again, if you can imagine, big game, Wii U gamepad, exercise bike going, and then I'm also trying to hold a book. No, it was easier to just look up online when I got stuck at certain parts. But hey, it was good. I liked it. Fantastic. This is some fun stuff for sure. Let's see, what did I note down here? Midna was fun. I think this was the first time that I went, oh, a companion that was actually pretty cool and not just annoying. Some of the items were great. I wrote down that I really enjoyed the spinner. I specifically put that I became a Beyblade. And yeah, you've had one claw shot. Sure. What about second claw shot? The story. We haven't really talked about the story in any of these up until this point, and that's probably for two reasons. One, the story to me was secondary. I was a child. I wasn't really focused on story and playing those things. If it grabbed my attention, it would have to be pretty thickly laid on in order to play through the fact that I'm just like, press buttons. I just want to kill stuff. I want to move on. I want to get the cool stuff. I want to play. That was games to me at that point. I wasn't experiencing them for the storytelling that was there, which was a setback that I am now correcting at this point. But this story was great. Get Legend of Zelda there is Big Bad. It is Ganon. Go kill it. Got it. That's it. This one had a much darker tone to it and a more complex narrative, and I dig it. It was cool. There were a few things I didn't like. Horse combat. No, thank you. It reminded me too much of the N64 version. Didn't care for it at all. I specifically wrote down just simply absolutely not after Snow Peak Ruins dungeon. And I definitely needed the guide for the amount of times that I got lost, didn't know where to go, had to backtrack. But I get why they did that in older games. I don't know if I mentioned that up until this point, but like the amount of space on cartridges, they would wind up having to get creative with certain things. So you would specifically have to backtrack through those things. I just don't like it. I'm not a fan. It's never felt good since even back then when I noticed it and went, oh, I'm going back through the same areas, or this is the same thing, but it's flipped. It just doesn't feel as good as like progressing through new areas and doing new things. But again, got to give the grace of older games. They had to be creative with how they did it so they could extend the length of it. It's cool. It's fine. I don't like backtracking when they do it outside of that, especially in any game today. I don't really care when it's like, okay, you've gone through this place. Now go back and do it again. I was like, okay, I will enjoy that in very particular situations, like the Lego games. Going back through them when you have all the characters can be fun because you kind of blow through them the second time and you unlock all the things. Outside of that, honestly, and in Legend of Zelda just isn't one of those games where it's like, hey, go back through it, but do it different this time. No, don't like that. Overall, the difficulty in this game was much harder than some of the other ones we had, but I had a better handle on it, I want to say. I don't know why. Maybe that was the controls. Maybe that's the fact that this is the 12th game I've played in a row. I don't know what it was about it. But even though parts of this game, without a doubt, were very frustrating, I marked it down as I would play this again, for sure. Number 13. The Phantom Hourglass. To be fair, right up front, playing it on an emulator is less than ideal, for sure. But remember I mentioned that 3DS and the trouble we had with that stuff? It no longer works by the end of it. I don't know what I did. I replaced the screen. Remember I said I had to do it twice? Well, I messed it up. And I went, let me do it again. Now I know what I'm doing. Let me try it again. And the first time worked, but the screen was all messed up. This third time, that was the second time after broke it first, repaired, didn't work, repaired, so I could just get it back to a working state and play some of the games again with that. That's what I planned on doing. And it works. It turns on. The screen's not cracked. There's no scratches or anything. Everything's great. The cable's there. Everything's good. And it just doesn't play games. I don't know why. I cannot figure it out. It just gives an error when I try to load things up. So clearly I did something wrong and have just never felt like going back through it. So, hey, that's why we got this. It's fine. So there were a lot of pain points about this game. And honestly, the game itself, the less we say about it, better. Outside of that, like the microphone is really difficult to do something like this because emulators don't work well with a microphone. It just doesn't go super well. It's frustrating. So what I wound up doing was looking what other people did online, and it doesn't work with the actual microphone and trying to yell into it or do things, and the fan noise is going. I'm in the closet. All of that, it winds up, you look up like sample files and load them in and then hotkey them so they can do a thing, but like... So the Phantom Hourglass, as it turns out, is entirely touchscreen. Not just some touchscreen like DS games, but entirely touchscreen. So I can do touchscreen. I have a stylus. Just a little rubber tip stylus, sure. Best way to do that? Play vertical. Sure. It's not great, and honestly, this sucks. And I eventually would wind up upgrading, kind of, to one that has, like, still a capacitive touch, but it's got a little nubbin to it instead, so you have better control. That did better, but it was not great. Honestly, I don't know what I could tell you about this. It was just a real push to get through the game. I did not enjoy it. I would not play it again. Number 14, Spirit Tracks. More of the same, only worse. Now the microphone mechanic is required. Like the dancing in the Oracle games, Oracle of Ages, every major section you complete, you now have to do a little song and dance. Just a song, not the dance part. A flute playing session with the people that you just, did the quest for. Which is a mechanic where you have to press the button. Again, partly this is microphone, emulator. Press the button to do the microphone, to do the thing, and then you're like holding notes and moving from there. I have never been so frustrated at a video game required mechanic before. I really thought I wasn't going to make this through this one, and the journey would end here, or I'd skip the game and move on. I was so furious. I would be tearing my hair out if I'd had any hair. I looked up guides online trying to figure out, am I doing it wrong? Do you have to like pull the thing up, like you're pressing the button, so you're holding it down, so you're supposed to be breathing into it, and then you're pulling the thing up for the note? Are you supposed to just go straight from that? Do you like glide from one note to the next? Do you do, like, it's just these 4 or 5 that you're supposed to pull up in different ways, but you have to mimic what they're doing, and it has to be timed, and it has to be the right way. You have to blow the notes the right way so that you got to get the right microphone sample. I just do not play this game. I'm not making a review. I'm not telling other people what to do. I will never ever touch this game again. I think even on proper hardware, I will never ever play this game again. It about killed any enthusiasm I had to play this entire thing of what we were doing. Oh. Number 15, Skyward Sword. Okay. Here's a funny little history before we get into this. I played, not the Switch version, the original, on the Wii, just a little bit. Remember that friend I was telling you about? Good friend, great friend. Gave me a bunch of stuff. I went over at one point. He had it. I didn't. But we went to lunch. We're adults at this point when it comes out. We went to lunch. I remember us going to get fast food, and his parents sat over. We sat at our own table, and all we did was talk about this game. He just told me everything he'd done about this game, and so much about it. He was so excited, and that was cool. And then we went back and hung out and did the usual stuff, played other games, did all this stuff. But he was like, no, you can't leave until you play this game. And then it's like midnight, and I am an adult, and I don't remember if I have work the next day, but I want to go. And he was like, no, you have to do this. You got to get through this. It's fine. And I just remember him forcing me to play the game. I did not enjoy doing the beginnings of the game. I was looking to see. I do actually have a copy of it on the Wii. I don't know where it went. I know I have it because it was a mix-up with Amazon, where I was buying something else for the Wii, and they shipped me. I was buying like a Mario game, super cheap, secondhand, whatever. I don't know, $10 or something, and they shipped me Skyward Sword, which was worth considerably more. I want to say at that point it was like $40, and I went, "Hey, you've given me the wrong thing," and they went, "Just keep it here. We'll send you what we actually said." So I do have it somewhere. I don't know where it is. The only things I could find was 2 copies of Twilight Princess for the Wii. Sure, but anyway. That is unrelated, but Skyward Sword. My first introduction to Skyward Sword is through a friend of mine. Same friend, good friend. Gave me many things throughout this history of what we're talking about. My original Game Boy, all these things. We go to hang out at one point. We're both adults at this point. I don't remember if he's gone off to college or not, but I have a job. I'm working. We're going to hang out one day like we do back in the old. We go get lunch. I remember us specifically sitting off. We got our own tables, sitting just like fast food. But like his parents took us to lunch where like we were still teenagers. But like they sat and did parent things and had adult conversations, and we sat in our room and just talked video games the whole time. And he told me all about Skyward Sword because he'd just gotten it and he'd been playing it. It was great. He's really enjoying everything about it. He's telling me about the motion controls and how cool it is and stuff like that. We go back, we spend the rest of the day hanging out together, but not playing that game. We just talked about other things. And I was like, all right, well, it's getting pretty late. It's getting on. It's almost midnight. I gotta wrap this up. And he goes, no, you can't leave until you play this game. You got to do it. It's amazing. You just got to try it. You'll want to play it after that. You got to do it. I think it was because he was so gung-ho on that I just wound up being like, I want to go. I'm very tired. But so we start playing the game, getting through it. I don't know how long it actually takes to get through the beginning part. Probably not that long. It felt like 2 hours. And it was simply because he had done it before. He knew exactly. So it's like, go here, go do this. Go do this, go do this, now do this, now do this, now do this. And it's like, I just want to swing the sword. I just want to do this. Look, I have a stick. Can I think you get a stick at one point and I swing it and I go, look, I got the idea. Let me just go. I want to go home. I'm tired. And it's like, no, you gotta get to the point where you get the sword and you can actually practice and do the thing. Honestly, I think that I then wound up getting the game later so I don't own the game at that point, but I would wind up getting it later. I have a Wii. I wasn't trying to buy that game. That was too expensive. I was trying to buy like a Mario game, I want to say, and I got it off of Amazon used, whatever, and they shipped me the wrong thing. They shipped me Skyward Sword. I think I bought like a $10 or $15 Mario game just to have something, and they shipped me Skyward Sword, which I want to say was around $40, and I went, should I just keep it? But no, I said, hey, you've sent me the wrong thing. And they went, oh, just keep it. Okay, cool. But I never actually played it because I'm pretty sure anytime I went, oh, I should play that game, I thought about it and was like, I don't want to go through that beginning again. I was forced to go through it in a time where I wasn't in the right mindset and wasn't willing to play, and I just didn't enjoy that. I'm remembering that I didn't enjoy another game we played at that point because he was also telling me about Dungeon Siege 3. And I didn't enjoy playing that. It was not Dungeon Siege to me. I just linked those two memories together. That happened at the same time. I didn't even realize that. That had nothing to do, nothing to that friend. Good time, fun hanging out and playing games together all the time. That was great. It was just those particular games I didn't like. And I've never touched Dungeon Siege 3 again. And I only touched Skyward Sword as part of this. So anyway, playing the remake on the Switch. I was really hoping after the last two that this one would not be quite gimmicky, I think might be the way, with the touchscreen controls and stuff like that. What a fool. What are you thinking, man? I was so optimistic going into it. But motion controls. I don't know. Maybe I thought they'd make some improvements from the Wii version. If they did, I didn't know about it. It still felt clunky and unforgiving. And again, I'm riding on a bike. I can sit upright. I don't have to be there. But now I've got controls and I got to, motion control with them. Things I noted about this game that the difficulty, hey, maybe this is just me. I don't know. I didn't check with anybody else. I don't care. But my opinion, it felt like I spent the entire majority of the game below half health. I died a lot to what felt like overpowered enemies. And there was a lot of repetition. You were revisiting the same areas over and over. Stealth. The silent trials. I remember marking that down as having no fun with it, and I had to do it multiple times, and I really, 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 really hated it. I was really not having to it. And the control, okay, it's a good time. It's fun video. Yeah, happy. The flying controls. Why? If you are not flying and a button does one function, that's what the button does. And then you start flying and you need that function and that function exists. Why is it not the same button? Why would you change that? I don't remember if it was inverted or not inverted, but it was specifically like I don't remember what it was. Was it the menu? It's been a while since I played it. I don't remember what it was, but like, I just remember you pressed a button to do something when you weren't flying, and when you wanted to do the same thing and you were flying, you did not press that same button. And I just don't understand why they would do that. And I'm playing on official hardware. I can't just remap buttons to whatever I want them to be. It's a downside, I suppose. Let's see, by the volcano area, I was really mad, and by the final Skies Maze puzzle, I was out of patience. I looked at a guide quite often. I liked some of the boss fights, whenever they didn't rely on sword combat. I liked that the Master Sword got visual upgrades. Hey, that's cool. I liked the story. Story was good, so was the ending. It was great. But again, by the end of it, what I felt was relief to be done with it. Not happy. kind of gone through it. I really hope this will be the last game with like gimmicky controls, something like that. It just doesn't really age well. Even though they remade it and stuff like that, I just didn't. No, thank you. It wasn't as bad as the previous two, but I'm still not itching to get through this one again. Number 16, A Link Between Worlds. Can you guess my feelings on this one? Yeah, I liked it. Of course I liked it. It's a remake of my favorite, not a remake, it's a sequel. I thought it was a remake. And I was willing to buy it and play it as a remake on the 3DS, thinking, I bet they did some stuff. And then I got it and went, not a remake, sequel. Okay. But still, same world, same universe, very similar. I really liked it. They did new additions like the puzzles, some of the items, really good and not so good. I did not like the item renting system. You see the age I'm at. You see where I live in an apartment. I'm aware of what rent is. I know what it does. I'm familiar with the concept. I don't need a reminder in a video game. I'm not super happy about it. Rather own something outright. Not always an option. Cool. Anyway, besides that little, reflection on society, dying feels bad, and I don't need to be punished even further. That was something I really didn't like. It wasn't too bad. At no point did I think I had like, all I gotta do is grind rupees today while I'm riding the bike. But it was just time consuming, and it angered me when I die to a boss. I just want to try again. Just immediately get me back. Let me do it again. Can't do that when you die and you go back and you got to go get the items again, and you got to pay money to get the items that you need to go beat the boss, and you got to give it another attempt, and you got to hope this time that you do it better, or you die again, and then it's already brutal enough. I don't want to go through that. And buying them outright is more expensive. You can't really afford to buy all of them unless you do a lot of grinding. And again, I was just trying to play through the game. I wasn't trying to do that. Anyway, I turned back to a familiar friend, save states. I was running out of patience. I think that may have been just like getting this far in and playing these games and things like that. I was just like, I've played this before. I played it completely, like on the 3DS. I know what it's like. I get it. I don't want to do that again at this point in time. So we did some save states before boss fights. I think that was really the only time I needed to. I didn't need help with any of the puzzles. I don't remember needing the guide very much. Just, it was the item renting system mechanic that made me go, But otherwise, other than that, everything else about it, great. It was great the first time I played all the way through it. It's great this time. I would definitely play this again. Number 17, Triforce Heroes. Why was solo even an option? This game is multiplayer. Let's just be clear. During this game, I had this mental image of game developers working real hard on a game, and what the game that was pitched and sold as multiplayer only. And then at the last minute before release, someone higher up the chain came in and went, what do you mean multiplayer only? You can't play solo? What if you don't have friends? And they just had to slap something together because it doesn't feel like you can play this game solo. I did, and I would not recommend it ever, ever, ever. It is awful because you don't play by yourself. You play with doppels, and doppels are other links in the game that you hot swap to, and so everybody gets their own item or weapon, which all have different things, and you need all of them to complete, which works super well if you're all working together because you have multiple people. But as a solo, you're like, okay, I've gotten to this point. Now I need the bow. I don't have the bow. Grab that guy, and I gotta carry everybody with me, or I gotta swap to them and make them walk through this stuff. And just okay. No. Gameplay is a no. Story, not really. It was all about fashion. I'm open-minded, but I don't really care that much about that. And so it seemed like a game that you would want, that they very much, the expectation is replay and replay and replay to unlock all the things, and I just not into it. Not about that. And some of the mechanics, again, okay, imagine if you will, because I thought about recording gameplay of this particular part, and I don't want to put myself through that again, to be honest with you. I haven't done that part of the edit. That'll come later, so maybe you'll see it on screen, but I honestly don't know if I just can go through that without getting too mad again. Imagine, if you will, a balancing beam on both sides. And if you have two people, sure, you both go on, and you both got to move at the same time. And if one person messes up, oh no, you're going to mess up the other person. And it's funny, it's antics, yelling at each other. I've played multiplayer games. I understand how that works. Sure, that's fun. When you're doing it yourself... When you just have you, and so you have to move one, and then you can move the other one, because you can't move them both together. You can pick each other up, but that's the only thing. But if you pick up another person, and you carry it onto this thing, guess where all the weight is? It sucked. I don't know another nicer way to put it. By the end, I was writing things like never ever again and terrible experience. Unlike Skyward Sword, where may have been some frustrations about some of the mechanics and some things like that, I enjoyed story moments. There were things I liked about it. I looked through all of my notes and I virtually nothing positive to say about Triforce Heroes. I just can't, no, never again. But here we go. Number 18, Breath of the Wild. The year is 2017, and I'm ready. The Nintendo Switch comes out, and with it, a launch title of a new Legend of Zelda. From my notes. Dude, I don't even know how to sum it up. It's incredible. A literal breath of fresh air to me back then, and again after what we just went through. Open world, so cool. The story, really good. Puzzles, fun. Almost everything I want in a Legend of Zelda game. I think about 100 hours into this, my first playthrough. Just incredible. I don't really think I have to tell you guys that much about it. It kind of reinvented it. So many games, and it kind of annoys me a little bit if you look things up and they go, oh, it's like Breath of the Wild. And it's like, you mean an open world game when describing other things. It's like, you don't have to say everything is like Breath of the Wild. They didn't invent it. They did some cool stuff with it, but anyway, things I didn't. I never liked the first time, and I don't like this time. And it's kind of been a theme throughout the stuff. Remember cool weapons? Upgrading weapons? Nope. That's not a thing here. It's the opposite. Weapons are trash. And I don't mean like they're bad, because there are good weapons, but they just break. You're going to use it. I don't know how much. You're going to get 5 minutes out of it, and then it's done. And the weapon system of constantly playing inventory management. I'm trying to go through, and you're just constantly using weapons and breaking the. I wound up doing. I remember it greatly frustrating me on my first playthrough. Second playthrough was a lot better because I knew what to expect going into it. And so I used, whenever possible, bombs, which don't do all that much damage, which was kind of frustrating considering how great the bombs were in some of the other games. But like, for the most part, I never used a lot of items for combat unless it was like things I can remember. Link to the Past, super useful to use a boomerang or the hook shot to stun an enemy and then go up and smack him with the sword. It's a really different type of game at this point. I respect that, but it just was my least favorite part of everything about a fantastic game. It doesn't bring it down. It's just I always remember that as like, everything else about it, fantastic. And during this process of playing through this game, the Switch 2 comes out. And I'm super excited. Oh man, I'm so excited for multiple reasons. One, I'm currently playing through these games. I'm playing Pokemon all the time. Like, yes, I'm all about this console. I talked about it in some of the other videos that have been coming out around different things for what... There was a little bit of a mix-up with mine, which was, I blame Nintendo. And I think that's fair because I looked up and other people had this issue when you are ordering it through their own site, which was a great experience, except for this one. Like, it was fantastic. I got an email. There's no like refreshing multiple times trying to do this stuff. I went through and purchased it. The only thing that happened was that when they went, oh, confirm your address. And I looked at it and I went, yep, that's it. But they auto-corrected the apartment number to a different number. That's not my apartment. And I know they did it, and it wasn't me messing up because I knew what happened. I did that, and a few days later, Bonnie got the invite to buy a Nintendo Switch 2, and I warned her about it, and it did the same thing to her. And she was like, yeah, it switched to this number, which was the same number that mine got shipped to. And the person who received it didn't receive it, and I panicked and didn't know what to do, but I got it. I got the package. It was fine. It was left at the office instead. Thankfully, it was got. And anyway. Besides me having a full-on panic attack about basically wasting $500 that someone else stole my package, which is what I thought happened. Besides that, everything was great. Immediate upgrade, better graphics, it runs better, smoother frame rates. I'm playing it, I specifically, by this point, I've moved things around in my apartment and I put the exercise bike out in kind of the, I guess what would be the dining room, but it's where I work and I move my computer out there for that. And the exercise bike is next to it and I use all my workout equipment out there. And I moved the TV that was there and I replaced it with a 4K one that was like, as we hand things down, and I have an older TV and put it up there. Looked so good, so fantastic. Really, really happy that we got to do that. I wish the upgrade was free, but like, hey, developers got to eat too. I get it, and $10 was worth it for the remainder. I probably had played maybe halfway through it at that point. And I was playing this one specifically with simply play until I get bored. And that's when I'm done with it because there's so much to do. And I knew I wasn't going to 100% do everything, but I did this time. I bought the DLC and never touched it. So I owned all the DLC at that point and just never did anything with it. I always went, it's been so long since I played it when I bought the DLC, when I finally got around to buying it. I was like, I don't want to pick up where I left off. I'd rather start over. And I just never bothered until now. And that was a reason to do all of this as well, was I was super happy to do it. And I played a lot of it. And the only things I didn't do, I got all the equipment stuff. I got all the extras that were there. I had a lot of fun playing through this. This was easily one of the top ones we've played throughout everything here. And I was so excited to get through this. The only things I didn't do were like the Master Quest, really, really difficult stuff because I have nothing to prove to nobody, remember? And I did, no, come on. That sounds horrible. Single hit and dead? I tried. I gave it a good effort 2 or 3 times and went, nah, this is just going to frustrate me and I won't have fun with the game. So instead, I did everything else possible, then went and fought Ganon. Fantastic. It was great. I wish the motorcycle would be cool, but again, the Master Quest is the only way you get that, and I didn't want to do it. And I wanted to be done. By this point, and you may have figured it out already, and I probably figured it out because I think I said it back in the last video I did where I was forcing myself to play games. I should not be doing that. It definitely kind of lessens the experience of it because playing one in a series, one after the next can get so similar. And Pokemon especially, because Pokemon is basically the same thing over and over with different skins and some things change, but it's overall the same game. And I love it for all those reasons, and it's fine and it's great, but playing them back to back, really by the end of it, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I've lost my enthusiasm. Going through this, I will say, not all the games are exactly the same, but the way that they went different are ways I didn't like. But I was just ready to be done. So I got to a point, I don't remember how many hours off the top of my head, and I didn't note it down, but it's on the screen, so you'll be able to see it like I've done all the others. I got through, I beat the game, I was happy to be done. I don't like playing games on the exercise bike. I don't like playing the same series back to back. I've done it twice now. I need to just stop. I need to switch it up for me to still be interested in doing things. I was really done more so, less with the game. I'd done so much in it. I was really happy with where we got to everything there. Fantastic game. Can't say enough good stuff about it. But I was ready to be done with the exercise bike. I'm just tired of it. I stopped a month or so ago now at this point when I'm recording this. And I immediately was like, I'm just going to do cardio outside. I'm going to go back to walking and playing Pokemon Go, or just give me something else to do. Like, get me outside. I'm tired of riding that bike. It sucks. It's such a bad bike. I bought the cheapest one. Like, of course, I've fixed it multiple times. It's terrible in many ways, but like, I'm just bored with it. I'll probably get back to doing that around winter. But anyway, it felt like I was at a good stopping point. We just passed 5,000 miles playing, not total on the exercise bike, but just playing these games over the course of about 3 years, just shy of 3 years. And this felt like a really good stopping point for multiple reasons. One, I was done with the game. I hit a point where I was ready to stop. 2, I have other Legend of Zelda games. Since starting this project, 2 more games have come out that I really want to play. One of them we own, and I have never touched. I want to play Tears of the Kingdom. I want to play Echoes of Wisdom. Is that what it's called? I don't know. I don't own it yet. I'm going to buy it. But I don't want to play it on the exercise bike. I just want to be done with the bike. I just want to play the game and sit on the couch and play the game, because it definitely detracts trying to ride a bike and play a game. If it requires any coordination or quick button skills, your mind is divided because you're trying to keep your balance on the bike and keep up a certain pace and do exercise because it's supposed to be good for you and all this heart healthy stuff that I'm doing. Clearly, I proved that I do not lose weight doing the cardio, doing that stuff, because I didn't lose weight for the first few years, and I've lost some. I'm working on it now, but that was only after a diet change. Talked about that in another video. Don't have to go into it here, but I am really excited to finally get to play Tears of the Kingdom when I'm ready. I'm taking a break. I'm playing other games right now, and then I'm going to play Tears of the Kingdom, and then I'm going to play Echoes of Wisdom, because I think that's what it's called. I'm really, really excited to do those things. I've kept myself in the dark pretty much entirely about this game. We own it. Bonnie played it. I don't remember if she beat it, but she played through a lot of it. She played a lot of it, and every time I knew she was playing it, look away. Did not look at the screen. Didn't want to know anything about it. All I know is that there's some kind of building mechanic, but I have not looked at it in any way whatsoever. So I'm very excited to get through this. I'm intrigued. I like building. I like building things. It sounds cool. So there we go. But that's it. I set out with a goal in mind. Play all the Legend of Zelda games that I'd missed out on. When I started it, I knew that other ones were going to come out over the process. I was not going to be able to wrap them all up. We'd already heard about Tears of the Kingdom. I knew I would get to it. I knew I would do it, and I thought I'd do it as part of this, but I am really happy I've made up my mind to not do it as part of the exercise bike. Just play it. I don't want to say as it's intended, but play it more regular, sitting on the couch video game style. I'm really happy with that. I cannot tell you how much fun overall through the ups and downs I had on this journey. I will be able to soon say I have played every major Legend of Zelda game. And I also have ridden many thousands of miles on an exercise bike. Cool accomplishments. I'm happy with it. I'm done. It was a good time. It was a great time. Some of these games I will be easily playing again. I found some of my favorites. I found some that I'll never touch again, as it happens. But hey, overall, really happy. Really, really good. Really, really done. I'm happy to be done with the exercise bike. I'm not doing anymore. There's nothing else. I think this winter I'll probably go back to having to do the exercise bike just because walking outside is a little tougher depending on what that is. But playing a game from my childhood or a bunch of games, like a series from my childhood, back to back while riding the exercise bike, that I'm done. That bit is over with. Son of a bitch.